So in addition to one of the Nurikabe variations this week, we wanted to just do a quick solution video for a classic Nurikabe. This logical puzzle from Grant is intermediate in difficulty, but showcases a lot of things you'll tend to want to do with Nurikabe puzzles. This one is heavier on the sense of islands or cell groups that need to be touched by other spaces to not avoid the 2x2 ocean constraint, or not violate that constraint. For instance, in this group of two cells, we need to have an island somewhere. The island actually must use these cells. And seeing that you can't get around this block, it must come from this 5. Having marked that in this upper left corner, the lower left corner now has its own isolation, so these cells in the corner can't be reached. The 3 can't get further than here. Similarly, the 5 can't get further than there. The 2, none of these cells can be reached. And so early on, you just look at the 2x2 constraint, and this isn't used as often in every single Nurikabe puzzle, but is very useful in this puzzle to use this kind of reachability consideration. The 3 has to use this cell, so whether it's this or this, these cells aren't used. This can't be reached by any island. The cell and this cell can't be reached now by any island. Based on where the other ocean is, the 2 is going to have to take this. Get to this interesting situation where we have an island cell here. It can't reach to the 3. It can't further reach to the 6, so this somehow connects down to the 2. But it actually forces a lot of constraints at the top of the grid and gives this shape to the other islands there. We have to consider that both this and this 2x2 block need to have an island cell used. So the cell from the 5, the last cell from the 5, going to come in here, and it has to be the cell in the middle that touches both of these regions, or we'd otherwise have an issue. This cell from the 10 also has to come over and touch this. That now shows me, and I sort of use these bendy lines to just have a sense of the form of the shape, but it does show me something like this has to come down to connect. If I actually try to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I sort of have one extra cell of gap, but I can't. I would have to take 2 cells. If I come down here and come up here again, if I didn't use this cell, I'd have 11 to make the full shape. So actually, with a count of 9 at this point, I know these are true, and I just have one more cell to take somewhere. We have a situation where this upper right corner is mostly shaded. This island has to take some space, but I also have to get an ocean out. And visually, if I just sort of sketch the size it remains, the fact that the 6 is very large, and there's basically this 3x3 space, but I need to take 3 cells as ocean and leave 6 for the island, this is the only form that's going to be possible. You've got to escape just to the left, just to the edge of this large group, leave space for this island, fill in like so. We're now again in this corner in a place where we just can't reach a lot of things. This 10 island can't come more than one more cell, so like a cell like this is unreachable. This cell is unreachable. We finally get the shape here. This cell is unreachable. We've got to get an island around all of these places. We also have to get some island here. This can't come from the 10, can't come from these 3s, so the 2 is going to come like so. That makes this an island cell. And now we see that this and this are both satisfied by the 3. That's not going to be sort of these 2 cells. It's going to at least use this middle cell. This now can't come to here, can't come to here. We see the last cell from the 10. We now must take this cell. And we must take this cell. And that finishes the puzzle out. You know, this isn't on its own a very, very hard Nurikabe, but it uses a less common rule of reaching into these 2x2 island regions. So I think if you can go back, maybe after watching this video, just try fresh the whole puzzle from the start, get to where you can see some of these rules much faster. This will be quite useful for you. Also, sort of where and how to start to think about these larger shapes, as we were starting to get the context for this 10 island. So where you could go from knowing that these connect to knowing this connects exactly this way and is path efficient by being straight into it. That's steps you'll see a lot in Nurikabe puzzles. The kinds of constraints that are true in these puzzles are limiting often in the amount of room you can have the islands take, and so that they're often compact when they come together. That's something you'll see in general. So hope you learned something about classic Nurikabe from this example from Grant Fikes, and we'll see you again soon.